hospital bills. We have very many people today and schools that cannot run because they have not received their capitation. Yet, we have a challenge whereby we want to pass this kind of budget that is going to be for the benefit of the executive and the president and his deputy and NIS. Honorable Speaker, I also want you to draw your attention also to the way we have revised the revenue downwards by 153 billion Kenya shillings. And as we are doing this, you are increasing the budget by a whopping 17 billion. And clearly you can see the budget that you're increasing is giving 6.3 billion Kenya shillings to the executive. Honorable Speaker, by doing this, yes, we are now expanding our deficit.
Order, Honorable Gaguchia. Somebody is on a point of order. The Honorable Member for Migori.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
What's your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, the member has just said that the increment is for the President and his deputy. I'd like to remind him that that office does not belong to His Excellency Ruto. That office belongs to Kenyans. So it's not a personal benefit to the President and his deputy. He needs to be very clear on that. And you know, just on a light note, Honorable Speaker, I have been in opposition. Let us oppose with sincerity, not just to make a name. You know, the way we are opposing things here, it's like we are doing a game. It's like for the television to capture you. I have been opposing in this house, but I oppose with matters that really concern one, and I say the truth. I don't just bring stories like this one of benefit to Honorable Ruto. How is he going to benefit? He has his salary. He's eating in his house with his wife, his salary. So there's no benefit directly to a person. It is to the office. So even your future president that you think might come will benefit on that note. Even the State House that has been renovated, it is not for His Excellency. I am still on His Excellency, Honorable Speaker. There's disrespect from the Honorable Member. I am on the floor. He's standing right behind me. It doesn't work like that.
Honorable Speaker.
Order, Honorable Fatuma.
Honorable Speaker.
I made my point, but also Honorable Speaker.
The member for Migori is not on any point of order, and she is.
Order, Honorable Gaguchia, proceed. Give the mic to Honorable Gaguchia, please. Prosecute the matter that is before you.
Honorable Speaker, there is no cure for ignorance. Honorable Member, when you see a member of the National Assembly starting to say that money that is appropriated for the State House is for the benefit of young kids and students who are in high school, who are waiting for the capitation that they have not received. Honorable Member, that's when you realize that member is extremely ignorant and does not understand how public finance plays out in this country. Honorable Member, Honorable Speaker, the deficit for the...
Honorable Gaguchia, when the chair tells you order, you freeze. There is a member of parliament who is on a point of order. When you rise on a point of order, you surely would want to be given an opportunity to prosecute your point of order. Honorable KJ, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I thank you. And we must speak to members of parliament who are serving their first term to know that this house is guided by the standing orders. And the standing orders do talk about the manner of language that should be used, especially when addressing a fellow member. The lady that was on the floor is a lady elected by her people. And there is no way the people of Migori can elect an ignorant person to parliament. Mr. Speaker, there is a language that cannot be used among members in the House. And this must be withdrawn, Mr. Speaker. And the discipline must be restored in this House so that we bring back the respect of this House so that it is not a shouting banter in the market. Mr. Speaker, that is very well specified in our standing orders, and if Honorable Gaguchia does not know which standing order it is, I can refer to him by standing order and the number of the standing order. He ought to withdraw and apologize to the Honorable Member and the people of Migori. We do not have ignorant people in this House, Mr. Speaker. I do thank you.
Order, Honorable Members, order. Honorable Member is on a point of order, and the chair is going to rule. Honorable Gaguchia, you indeed use the word ignorant to describe the Honorable Member of Parliament. Order! I am the chair. He is managing the House. He doesn't need any support from anybody. The Honorable Gaguchia, you did refer to the Honorable Member for Migori as ignorant. You with the order! Order! Order, order. Honorable Kaguchia, when the chair is addressing you, you don't stand. You sit down. Order, order. Honorable members. Who is the one who said order? Honorable member, the word ignorant is unparliamentary. Please withdraw that and proceed on with your presentation.
Honorable Speaker, I actually said that ignorance has no cure. And anyone who has found cure for ignorance might as well inform me so that I can know what that cure is. Honorable Speaker, I only say that ignorance has no cure.
Order, honorable members, if that's what the honorable... Yeah. Order! Honorable Fatuma, you have had a long spell for you to prosecute your point of order. Allow other members of parliament also to prosecute their issues on this. Order, order. No. If you
thank you very much.
He said, as he puts it, ignorance is no cure. He did not specifically say the honorable member for Migori is ignorant. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that protection. Honorable Speaker, I find that the deficit in our budget now has been expanded by 170 billion to 1.3 trillion Kenya shillings from 1.99 trillion Kenya shillings. And you also realize from this supplementary budget, the domestic borrowing has been expanded by 162 billion to 1.13 trillion Kenya shillings. Honorable Speaker, we are speaking from, or this country is now speaking from double sides of the mouth. When you say that we are not going to borrow, and then you see this kind of increase being done. Honorable Speaker, I propose this money that has been allocated in this supplementary budget to State House, to Deputy President's office, to NIS, to Interior, to the tune of 6.3 billion Kenya shillings. That these four offices are meant to spend this money within the next 2 weeks. Honorable Speaker, I respectively propose that that money be put on road construction, be put on capitation for schools, be put on medication for our people in hospitals, and be put on agriculture to subsidize seeds, especially now when we are going to planting season very soon, so that our people can benefit from these maneuvers that we do in our supplementary budget, rather than benefit a few individuals who seem to be enriching themselves, living large and comfortable lives at the expense of Kenyans who are suffering.
Order, Kaguchia, order. I am actually directing the clerks at the table. Every time the Speaker directs somebody and says order, if that person continues on talking, switch off the mic. That's the rule. What's your point of order, Honorable Kimani Ichung'Wah, Majority Leader?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On relevance, Honorable Speaker, and I was listening to the member for Mukurweini, Honorable Kaguchia. Just to remind him, we are debating supplementary estimates two. And if indeed it is true, ignorance has no cure, I don't know how we may cure some of what we are seeing in the House when you purport that you can now move money in a supplementary 2 budget, 12 days to the end of the financial year to benefit this and that group. Truly, Honorable Speaker, ignorance would have no cure in that case. And if ignorance has no cure...
Ignorance has cure because if somebody is ignorant, he gets informed or educated.
Honorable Speaker, you know, if ignorance has no cure, even the ignorant, you may not be able to educate them. That is why, Honorable Speaker, you have had some people say that this and that clause has this and that when it doesn't have, and when you challenge them, they tell us, don't refer us to the clauses in the bill. I just want the member for Mukurweini to remain relevant to the debate. Cognizant that this is supplementary estimates 2, not supplementary estimates 1. At the end of the financial year, 12 days to the end of the financial year. And if you bother to listen to the chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, most of these are realignments and reallocations towards the close of the year so that you do not leave gaps in one state department against the other. There is no additional expenditure
Proceed, Honorable Kaguchia. Allow Honorable Kaguchia.
Honorable Speaker, just a minute, Dr. Oudo. Honorable Speaker, arrogance is worse than ignorance. Honorable Speaker, this executive and this government has been misleading Kenyans by using Article 223 of the Constitution to spend money without approval of this House and come last minute to get approval. Honorable Speaker, that does not make it right either, Honorable Speaker. Why can't we be spending this money in the right areas of our economy? And so,
Honorable Speaker, as much as we are saying ignorance has no cure, Article 223 of the Constitution is an article of the Constitution of Kenya. And the drafters of the Constitution had reason to give us powers, or to give the executive powers, to utilize Article 223 of the Constitution. And therefore, if that article was not useful to the country, we would never have enacted into law in 2010 when we enacted the Constitution. And any expenditure that comes under Article 223 is up to this House to oversight whether those funds are going to proper use. I wish the member was speaking to those issues, but not telling us that Article 223
you made your point, Honorable Majority Leader. Allow the Honorable Kaguchia to make his point. Are you on
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, the Article 223 would have been okay if we were using it to help get medication and drugs in hospitals. If we were using it to build and construct roads, but not for hiring choppers, not for hiring jets, which have massage seats, not for moving from...
Honorable Atandi, is there a point of order? The chair of the Budget Committee.
Honorable Speaker, I know I will have my chance to respond when I'll be replying. But I just wanted to inform the House that for this particular...
You cannot inform the House. Do you wish to inform
I wish to inform the Honorable Kaguchia.
Honorable Kaguchia, do you wish to be informed?
That...
Be informed by Dr. Oudo.
Sorry,
not by the... Yeah, Dr. Oudo, please.
Honorable Speaker, let me reframe my concern. That
if it's a point of order,
yes,
and you want to...
Yeah, it's a point of order.
You want to clarify...
Yes, I would like to clarify.
Yes.
I would like to clarify that even though the majority leader has explained the purpose of Article 223, which is an act which is in the law, and we have used it before. But for the sake of this, for the sake of the matter before the House,
yes,
we are not regularizing any expenditure under Article 223. So therefore, the Honorable Kaguchia is out of order to be continuously talking about Article 223 as if it is something that is before the House. The supplementary bill before us, supplementary 2, SMS 2, has nothing on Article 223. So let him be informed. Thank you.
Honorable members, for purpose... What's your point of order? On order to who? Who is out of order? I know you can't inform him because his time is up. But order. Honorable Kaguchia, I give you half a minute more. But please be relevant and use your time properly.
Honorable Speaker, I want to clearly put it that the chair of budget has talked about Article 223.
Order. Do you wish to be informed by Honorable Oudo?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Proceed.
Honorable Speaker, when the Honorable Majority Speaker, Majority Leader was indicating, he misled the House. This particular supplementary budget has got an increase of 18 billion above what was approved in this House. Just wanted to go on record so that I inform him, because he was given wrong information. This supplementary budget has an increase of 18 billion and is stated here in order number 14 of today's stand order paper. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Oudo, for the information. Honorable Speaker, you can see the hypocrisy and the...
Order, prosecute your...
Honorable Speaker, the point is that the majority leader is the one who alluded to Article 223, what the budget chair is talking about. Honorable Speaker, the point is that we have 6.3 billion Kenya shillings that is being proposed in this supplementary budget for the 4 higher offices in this country. And that is what we are opposing, and that is what we are saying. We must remove this money and give it to the children of this country, use it to buy drugs, use it to construct roads, Honorable Speaker, because it is not right that we use a whooping 200 million Kenya shillings in the office of the Deputy President, a whooping 1 billion Kenya shillings in the State House, 1.55 billion Kenya shillings in the internal security, and in the National Intelligence Services, 3.55 billion Kenya shillings. Honorable Speaker, this is wrong, and Kenyans must know how their money...
Time is up. Honorable Murugara. Yeah? Murugara, Honorable Murugara. Honorable members.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we must always get those notions which are wrong out of the way. Number one, we are doing exactly what we are empowered to do, which is to approve a supplementary estimate brought to this House. The only requirement we need from the executive is exactly what is the purpose of that supplementary estimate. Where it turns on Article 223, this House would actually be informed accordingly and may ratify the expenditure or decline to ratify the expenditure. As far as this estimate is concerned, we've been informed that these are realignments. These are reallocations. Money that was budgeted for, but has to be moved so that it is in tandem with what the country needs. It is wrong for us, honorable members, to say one state department is not important, another state department is more important, while in actual fact, we do have budget allocations for each of these state departments. It cannot be said that the office of the president or state house is not important to this country. In fact, it is the seat, the unifying seat of the country is actually at the state house, in the office of the president. You can imagine how it would be if we were to treat that office with the contempt, as some members are trying to do, purely because they feel it is not in line with their political inclination. You can imagine what would happen if there is any of the state departments that is underfunded and therefore has to be funded through an alignment. As far as this is concerned, we have pointed out that internal security is an important facet of the country. This is where we find our security agencies, internal, and this money is going towards our police force, our GSU, and all those ones who provide us with internal security. NIS, there's no way this country can survive without NIS. We would be foolish if we did that, because we would be caught here unawares, not knowing what is happening in our own country. We've talked about other very important factors which are not being mentioned, like the Nyota program, a turning point to our youths in Kenya. And nobody whatsoever, nobody in this house would dispute the fact that the Nyota program is one of the most important programs in our country. Ask any other youngster who has benefited from this, and as they continue to benefit, because money is coming up in tranches, we cannot vote because a supplementary has come in to say some money has to be allocated to these youths. Therefore, we are doing what we are mandated to do under our constitution today. Ours is either to agree or disagree, but not to make proposals say that as we speak today, there is no money budgeted for health. While we know there is a budget for that at the national level, we have a budget for that at the county level. You cannot say roads are not budgeted for. In fact, it is inappropriate for this debate because there is a budget for roads here and at the county level. So, sincerely speaking, what we are doing today is to confine ourselves to what has been introduced by the Budget and Appropriations Committee. And thank you very much, Honorable Atande, because you went through this very quickly, absolutely, so that you can align it with what the House requires. This is why we are saying, in the remaining 2 weeks, for whatever reason, if there's any money that is going to be misappropriated or misapplied, that is our work. That is why it's called oversight. Pick it out, bring it here, and we shall deal with it in accordance with the law of the country. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I do support this report that we pass the miscellaneous appropriations bill.
MP for Game.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of the motion. I know my colleagues who have had contrary opinion. I've targeted the presidency, the deputy president's office, and NIS. And what is important, the president is so important for the country. And that's why the president of the Republic of Kenya today is in a meeting with the G7, when all African presidents are in Africa here, and talking on behalf of the continent. And more importantly, if you talk about National Intelligence Service, gentlemen, all of us, we are here safe and guarded because of the support of that agency. And that money is not for an individual, it's for the agency. So we should be wary of what we say because the public is watching us as leaders. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, I rise on point of order 95.
Order. MP for Game. Order. MP for order. The honorable members, why do you want to usurp the powers of the Speaker? Order. Honorable CNN, the Speaker does not need any assistance from you. Being a first-timer, and somebody has been here and came into Parliament in 1992 and has been a Deputy Speaker, what assistance does he need from you? Anyway, order. For the knowledge, for the information of all the members who are either first-timers or do not understand. You can only rise on standing order number 95. If you have not contributed to that motion yourself, number one, and not as part of a contribution. The moment, so whoever who has to stand on a standing order number 95 can only do it if he has not contributed to that matter itself and feels the matter is properly addressed. Okay, order, you have already exhausted your time, just sit down. Are you on a point of order? Yes, proceed on the point of order, yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want first to confirm that I have not contributed to this debate.
Fair enough, it's understood. If
much
you
as I would have wished
the clerks at the table would have informed me. So
much as I would have wished to do so, Honorable Speaker. But Honorable Speaker, I want to stand under standing order number 95 into bracket 1. I've listened carefully to my colleagues, and Honorable Speaker, it looks like we are exhausting substance of discussions on this particular debate, and it is my proposal, Honorable Speaker, that the mover be called upon to reply. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes. Honorable members. Order, honorable members. I now want to put the question that the mover be called upon to reply. As many of the people say aye. Aye. As many of the people say nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me first of all thank members for the robust debate that has happened on the supplementary estimates too. Honorable Speaker, I did not expect a lot of interest on this bill, but I'm grateful for the members. You have indeed demonstrated that this is indeed a budget-making house. Honorable Speaker, I just want to allay fears from members, some of the members who are questioning some of the allocations. Principally, Honorable Speaker, there are very, very, very important allocations that we are approving in this bill. First of all, Honorable Speaker, if you look at the allocations under sports, All of us are aware that we are soon going to host the AFCON, the African Cup of Nations. Honorable Speaker, this will require that the country is well prepared. We need to prepare the training grounds where the various teams are going to train. We also need to complete the stadiums where we are going to host the matches. Honorable Speaker, the funds that belong to the Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund are funds which we collect from betting. In the recent past, because of the interest in sports, this fund has continued to grow. And in fact, the collections surpassed what we had budgeted. We had approximated when we were doing the revenue estimations. So in the process, we have been able to raise more revenue, and this is the revenue that we want to direct to the completion of these stadiums so that we are indeed ready to host the matches. Honorable Speaker, we have allocations to Nyota. These are donor funds, Honorable Speaker, and donors are ready to disburse the funds as soon as we have passed the estimates. Honorable Speaker, there are just about 2 billion allocated to security operations. Honorable Speaker, members of Parliament, let us be aware that we should never compromise on the security of our country, and that should there be an incident that is ugly, we will be told that we did not appropriate resources to do the same. And therefore, I really would not support members who are saying that allocation to security is unnecessary. Yet we all want security. Even when we get out of Parliament, we will want to be safe. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, this House should always support funds going for our security. Honorable Speaker, there was an uproar here when we were passing the main estimates for 2026, 2027, that the arrears for invigilators who supported the exams had not been factored in the budget. I want to confirm, Honorable Speaker, that in these supplementary estimates, we have 1.5 billion which is going to be used to sort out the arrears of those teachers who supported the invigilation process when our students were doing exams. Honorable Speaker, this supplementary is very tiny. This country is running a budget of over 4.3 trillion. So an amendment of about 18 billion is not something that should cause us to behave as if the country is going to lose so much when we pass these limited adjustments. Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, I would like to move and I would like to reply. And I would like to reply and ask, sorry, thank you. I would like to reply, thank you.
Honorable members, I now put the question that this House adopts the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on its consideration of the second supplementary estimates for the financial year 2025-2026, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, the 17th June, the year 2026, and pursuant to Section 39 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A, and Standing Order number 243. Roman 1, approves an increase of the current expenditure for the financial year 2025-2026 by Kenya shillings 7,619,000,000 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule. Roman 2, approves an increase of the capital expenditure for the financial year 2025-2026 by Kenya shillings 10,618,023,911 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule. Roman 3 approves an overall increase in the total budget for the financial year 2025-2026 by Kenya shillings 18,237,023,911 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule. And Roman 5 makes financial recommendations as contained in the third schedule. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? Yes. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 15, the Plant Protection Bill, National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2025. second reading.
Majority Leader, would you want to move that or you want it?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move that the Plant Protection Bill, National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2025, be now read a second time. Honorable Speaker, allow me first to thank the Committee of Agriculture who considered this bill and took it through very extensive public participation, because this is a very critical bill in a country like ours, which we pride ourselves of being an agro-based economy. Honorable Speaker, you members are aware that in an agro-based economy like ours, productivity, especially of our food crops, is very critical, not just in the matter of sustaining our food security, but also in ensuring that we are stable as a nation, because without food security, instability as a nation comes into play. Honorable Speaker, the provisions of this bill is quite a lengthy bill, Honorable Speaker, with almost 60-something, 75 clauses. And it is important, Honorable Speaker, I continue to re-emphasize the number of clauses in the bill, so that those like the member for Kobchai, the Honorable Kalasinga, who are purporting a finance bill has 169 clauses, and referring to a bill saying that clause 169 in this bill, and the bill had only 57 clauses, so this bill has only 75 clauses. So for those who are not very keen in reading bills, it's important that you go through every clause of a bill, so that as you legislate, you are aware what are the provisions of each and every clause in a bill. That is what good legislators do. Good legislators don't listen to propaganda out there, watch the things that are being said on TikTok clips, or what is being said on social media, then come to propagate that on the floor of the House. You make the House look unserious and actually expose your own sense of ignorance and lack of wisdom. I do not want to say foolishness, it is lack of wisdom. When you come to say things that do not exist, and you go out there and make the world believe that they exist. Therefore, this bill, Honorable Speaker, is repealing the Plant Protection Cap 324, which was enacted during the colonial government in the year 1937, principally to secure Kenya's agricultural value chain. And as I've said, we prided ourselves as being an agro-based economy. And indeed, being an agro-based economy, a lot of legislative interventions have happened over the years since 1937. But it's become important that we now relook at this Plant Protection Act that was enacted in 1937. And specifically, the bill seeks to modernize our structures to handle the rapid transformation that we are seeing in our agricultural sector and the global dynamics of agricultural trade. And I say the massive transformation in our agricultural sector because, Honorable Speaker, you remember 3 years ago, we were unable to feed ourselves. 3 years ago, we were importing sugar. If Kenyans have forgotten, sugar was trading at over 500 shillings a kg of sugar in our supermarkets. Our other food crops, like maize flour, was trading at 260 shillings in our supermarkets. Honorable Speaker, if you protect me from the member Joshua Kimilus, or someone who is shouting from his seat.
Order, Honorable Joshua. I'm not going to mispronounce your name again. So, yes, what's your point of order? What's out of order?
Mr. Speaker, I respect Majority Leader, but does he has powers to abuse me by calling me Kimilu? Kimilu, not Kimilu, is an abuse. And I want Majority Leader to withdraw and apologize to me, because that's an abuse.
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, you know, even himself,
Are you on a
he
point
seems
of
to be uncertain what his name is.
Point of order for KJ.
I do not seek to interrupt my majority speaker, but Mr. Speaker, in this house, we come from different parts of the country. Yes. And the speaker who is on the seat himself is on record being unable to pronounce the name of the honorable member. Yes. So, Mr. Speaker, some of these are not things that we should waste our times about on the floor. I think, Mr. Speaker, the honorable leader of majority was on a great point about misinformation and heckling on the floor of the House. So, Mr. Speaker, I think what he was calling you to is to call him out on heckling while members are contributing in the House, Mr. Speaker, and Honorable Joshua Kimilu.
I had said from the beginning, I will not make a mistake the way I made it last time. I know the honorable member is called Kimilu. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It may be difficult for some of us to pronounce names, but anyway, they are not important. What is more important?
Majority leader, order. You are the one who order. You are the one who corrected me last time.
Honorable Speaker, last time when you mispronounced that name, he shouted from his place and you aren't hearing what he was saying, so I heard what he was saying. But anyway, I was saying moving on because names are not important in this case, especially if there is no value addition to the debate that we are on. Because we are on the debate of the rapid transformation in our agricultural sector. That packet of flour, maize flour that was selling at 260 is now below that 260 and below 200 shillings, Honorable Speaker, in the region of some brands 110, 130, 140. And that transformation, Honorable Speaker, has not come by mistake or by accident. It has been out of deliberate policy decisions that have enabled our investment, our huge investment into the agricultural sector. Honorable Speaker, that investment, whether it is in the seed input or fertilizer subsidy program, which we just allocated another 19 billion shillings, Honorable Speaker, to ensure that this rapid transformation continues. So that those of us who are fond of inciting people around the price of unga, remember some time back there was an unga revolution, then we'll have to get an agenda for themselves to ride on. Just like you have seen, Honorable Speaker, today, unfortunately, there are a handful of members, about 14 members of parliament, who are trying to incite emotions in the country around the question of the finance bill, simply because they could not articulate clear issues that were of concern to the people in the finance bill, because some clearly had not read that finance bill. Therefore, the global dynamics in the agricultural trade, Honorable Speaker, I was speaking about, are also issues that touch on climate change, on the use of organic fertilizers and artificial fertilizers. And those global dynamics are changing in the way we manage our agricultural sector. And we must be cognizant of these things and be able to create legislation that speaks to the issues that people are addressing in the world. Because there are places today, Honorable Speaker, where people are insisting on only organic foods and foods that are used, are grown using organic matter. And therefore, part of what this bill is speaking to are these global dynamics in agricultural trade to ensure that we align ourselves and our country's agricultural sector with the changing world or the changes that are there in the world. And therefore, this bill, Honorable Speaker, equally repeals the act, that old act, to align with the current constitution and give clear roles to both levels of the government in the sector. Because when we enacted the first Act of Parliament in 1937, there was one unitary national government. Now we have two levels of government, the national and the county governments. And you are aware that the agriculture as a function of government has since been devolved to our county governments. And therefore, this bill seeks to ensure that we have a harmonized way of relations, or there is harmonization of relations between the two levels of government. And we have removed the historic regulatory duplication and friction that existed between our two levels of government. Therefore, the national government is being given its own mandate in ensuring that we retain border surveillance and international policy decisions. But then when it comes to managing of local plant clinics, building farmers' capacity, execution of on-ground pest management, that has been set aside to be done by the county governments, Honorable Speaker. But just pointing out the key objective of this bill, Honorable Speaker, it touches also on the management of pests. And many of us, because as I said, being an agro-based economy, many of us come from farming communities. And even if you are from Kikuyu like myself, where there isn't much food being produced on large scale, we have subsistence farmers who are growing crops. And we are all aware that invasive pests destroy close to 40% of our food crops globally every year. That all the food produced in the world, 40% of it goes to waste because of pests. And therefore, that makes this legislative proposal an urgent priority for our country to ensure that we have proper pest management control. And when I spoke about the global trade dynamics in agriculture, that also speaks to how do we manage our pests, Honorable Speaker. Because there are certain pesticides that we could use that then makes our food crops and our plants unable to access other markets in the globe. And therefore, we must ensure that even the pests that we are using, we train our farmers, and that's why I said even the two levels of government will have the international standards and international policy and border surveillance to ensure that people are not bringing in pests into our country using plants. That is why KEFIS is established to make sure that they control the kind of plants that come into our country, how we do disease surveillance and pest control, and also to ensure, Honorable Speaker, there is also surveillance of what pesticides are coming into our country and farmers are using. And that is why I say there is now a clear dichotomy of what will be the role of the national government in terms of formulating policy, aligning our policy with the international standards and international policies, border surveillance, whereas we leave the county governments to be the ones who are legally empowered to manage local plant clinics, build farmer capacity in terms of being able to educate our farmers to know what pesticides to use. If you are using organic matter in growing your crops, what organic matter can you use that will also not make sure, that will make sure that your food crops are able to access markets globally, not just locally. And also, of course, they will be the ones in the county governments being able to execute the on-ground pest management because they are the ones who have extension officers on the ground. Honorable Speaker, the key objective of this bill, therefore, is to establish a very clear and comprehensive legal and regulatory framework or an institutional framework that will handle modern agricultural challenges. And specifically, the bill targets to do a number of things. One is to prevent the introduction or the establishment and spread of destructive plant pests in Kenya. As I said, it is possible that if we do not manage this space, people can introduce very destructive pests. And Honorable Speaker, not just pests, but also plants. Remember the case of the Madenge plant, which has made the people of Baringo and other areas, including northern Kenya, the hyacinth in the Lake Victoria, Lake Naivasha region, and I think also Lake Turkana, they suffered from the hyacinth. These are things that can come into our country and become a disadvantage to our food production cycle. And therefore, part of the targets of this bill, or part of the key objective of this bill, is to ensure that we have proper mechanisms on the introduction, management, and establishment of destructive plant pests in the country. Two, it also aims to fully institutionalize and facilitate safe international and local trade in plants and plant products. Honorable Speaker, you know, you've seen in many jurisdictions when you are walking out of your aircraft to the terminals, you are told to declare what you are carrying. And part of the things you are asked to declare are whether you are carrying any plants or seeds. And we want to ensure that even in our own country, Honorable Speaker, because I have not seen that at JKIA, we will now have a legal framework that will ensure that people are able to declare so that even if it's a flower you are coming with from outside, you go to Tokyo and you find a beautiful looking flower or another capital city, and you want to carry its seeds or that plant into the country, we must be sure that you have approval from KEFIS. Honorable Speaker, this bill also seeks to formally align Kenya with global standards, as I said, by giving full effect to the International Plant Protection Convention, which we are a signatory to, and therefore we will use this bill to give effect or formally align our country to the global standards that we are signatories to, like that International Plant Protection Convention. The bill further seeks to effectively manage transboundary and migratory pests that threaten national food security. You remember, Honorable Speaker, like 4 years ago or so, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, in 2020 or 2019, there was an invasion of locusts. And I remember the then Minister for Agriculture, I think it was Peter Munya, telling people to photograph pests, the locusts, and send the photos to the ministry. Because we lacked that effective transboundary and migratory pest management system. Therefore, we want to create that mechanism so that the current Minister for Agriculture, should there be an invasion from any of our neighboring countries or from one country to the other, will not stand up to tell us, you take photos of locusts and send to the ministry, then we'll be able to establish whether it is a harmful one or the unharmful one. We will have a system now where you are able to manage this transboundary migration of any harmful pests, so that you're able to track them and know if there is an invasion of a harmful pest that would diminish our food crops or our plants, you arrest it in time. The bill also establishes a very comprehensive institutional framework that coordinates plant protection across both levels of government. As I said, this is a bill that is dealing with a matter that touches on devolved levels of government, and therefore, even upon passage in this House, we expect that it will go to the other House. Clause 7 and 8 of the bill, Honorable Speaker, designates the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service, KEPHIS, that I had referred to, as a national plant protection organization. And by formalizing KEPHIS, Honorable Speaker, through this bill as our global inquiry and contact point, the bill ensures that the Kenyan agricultural exports command unmatched regulatory and trust across international markets. And this is very important, Honorable Speaker, because I said people out there who are sensitive to the kind of plants or food crops they are eating want to be certain that if I get tea from Murarandia Tea Factory in Muranga, that tea is grown in line with the international and global standards in terms of the pest control mechanisms that have been applied on the plants, in terms of whether people want organic tea or organically grown tea, that if KEPHIS has certified that, KEPHIS now is our reference point for this, and it becomes a global inquiry and contact point for our country, that any person out there can be confident that what has been certified by KEPHIS is in line with the international standards set out, and therefore this further strengthens our strength in the global agricultural markets, and we'll be able to have our food crops, our cash crops being able to access our international markets without having any non-tariff trade barriers, because people are not certain whether you adhere to international conventions on pest control, how you manage your plants. Honorable Speaker, the other thing I think I could touch on is clause 11 to 14 that creates the specialized Kenya Technical Committee on biological, articles, and control agents to aggressively fast-track the risk analysis and registration of eco-friendly biofertilizers and organic soil conditioners. Because, Honorable Speaker, again, if we lack a system where we have such a technical committee that is dealing with biological articles and control agents, it is possible, and we have no system of doing risk analysis and registration of eco-friendly biofertilizers, organic soil conditioners. We could find manufacturers of some of these biofertilizers and organic soil conditioners producing things that may be harmful, 1, to our plants, 2, to our health, or 3, to our soil, and make our country or our soils less productive. And the only way to safeguard that is to make sure that we have a technical committee of biotech specialists who will be able to analyze whatever is coming into our country to ensure that the biofertilizers or whether it is soil conditioners that we are using, first, are not harmful to ourselves, they are not harmful to our soils, they are not harmful to our plants, and they will not in any way interfere with the ecological balance of our agricultural productive areas or our soils, Honorable Speaker, because again, biological warfare in today's world is real. And you may find people who don't mean well for you, sending you bioagents or things that will come and spoil your soils, or even spoil the variety of plants that we are using as food crops. Honorable Speaker, I spoke about border surveillance and enforcement powers that I don't need to belabor, because that, again, as I said in the bill, has been designated to our national government, and the roles of the county government are also clearly stipulated. Honorable Speaker, clause 44.1 and 45.1 collectively establishes the dedicated national and county plant health emergency response committees to provide a highly synchronized, swift crisis management structure where biosecurity breaches occur. Because, Honorable Speaker, and case in point is that issue of locusts. This had nothing to do with biosecurity. It was just an invasive pest. But you remember those 4 or 5 years ago, there was absolutely no coordination between the county governments in Isiolo, in Marsabit, I think also parts of Laikipia, where this invasive pest came from, and the national government. That is why you had the minister then telling members of the public to take photos of the locusts. But if there was a coordinated way of working between the two levels of government, and that is what this bill is seeking to do in clause 44.1 and 45.1, that you have a coordinated mechanism between the national and the county plant health emergency response committees, such that if there is any biosecurity danger anywhere within our country, the county government at the local level is able to arrest that, and they're able to coordinate with the national institutions to be able to arrest things before they become catastrophic to our food security or our food basket. Honorable Speaker, as I said, this bill is very detailed. It's not one among the bills that people can come here to contribute to without having read. You know, the finance bill, Honorable Speaker, is very easy for people to contribute to, because they can come and say all manner of things without reading the bill, without ascertaining what they have had out there is in the bill. That is why you had a very serious leader, or a leader who ought to be a very serious leader in this country, purport that the finance bill had a clause that was converting all leasehold land. Imagine including my small piece of land that is freehold. He purported that it was going to be converted into leasehold. And you know, I pitied my good friend and learned friend, because he's a senior counsel, he's a lawyer, he's a former vice president, he purports to be a presidential candidate. But you know, when you are a presidential candidate, leave alone a presidential candidate, when you aspire to be anything, anywhere, or to lead anyone, anywhere, you must have your facts on your fingertips. And all it takes is simple reading, Honorable Speaker. This bill is very massive, as I said, 70 plus clauses. The finance bill was only 57 clauses. Only 57. I felt very embarrassed, Honorable Speaker, yesterday when I sat here and listened to people speak about issues that were not in the finance bill. I have seen the same people misinforming members of the public in a press conference out here, telling people things that are not in the finance bill. I am waiting when the House Business schedules the committee of the whole House to see how these shameless people will treat Kenyans. Kenyans are more intelligent now, Honorable Speaker. Kenyans know that some years back they were being misled to believe that when a bill goes through second reading, is a fait accompli, that matter has been closed. Kenyans were made to believe that when you finish second reading of a bill, you don't need to amend. That is why we are being told, reject the entire bill, don't amend. But now we must continuously educate Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, to know that when we debate a bill like this in second reading, we are speaking to the pros and cons of what is contained in the bill. But the committee has also done extensive stakeholder engagement. And if you read the committee's report, you see they engage with the State Department for Agriculture, with KEFIS, with industry players, including manufacturers of our agro products, agro-based, those biofertilizers, soil conditioners. They have engaged with research institutions, serious research institutions like CARO. They have engaged with people like Kenya Seed, who are producing seed, and other seed growers, private sector players, agrochemical associations, so that we inform our debate or the legislative pieces that we enact in this House with facts, with proper data, and the same goes with the finance bill. We go out to the public to listen to their views. The committee tables a report that informs our debate. And therefore, as serious legislators, as serious leaders, elected by the people to come and represent them, the best we can do is just to take 10, 20, 30 minutes of our time to go through the executive summary of the committee's report when it is tabled. To get a bill like this, Honorable Speaker, and if you turn to the back of the bill, it speaks to the memorandum of objects and reasons. So I get very ashamed, Honorable Speaker, when a member of parliament stands here and purports that in a bill like the finance bill that was reducing VAT on Mtumba from 16%, taking it to exempt, you are telling Kenyans they are taxing Mtumba. You are not telling Kenyans the truth. That Kenyans pay 16% on their Mtumba when they import it. But because it is easier and more convenient politically to speak to the gallery from the floor of parliament, you want to abuse that. You may look intelligent when you are abusing that here. But when people discover the truth, you look very foolish. And we must safeguard our integrity and the dignity of this House. Because I want to believe every member who is elected into this House is elected as among the best in the areas they come from. Therefore, you must exhibit that. When you come and tell us in the House, like the member for Kabuchai, that clause 169, what are you telling us about the people of Kabuchai? The people of Kabuchai have produced very serious scholars in this country. You can imagine a senior counsel like the Speaker of the National Assembly. He's from Kabuchai. Therefore, that cannot be a reflection of the people of Kabuchai. And I must apologize to the people of Kabuchai. I must apologize to the people of Kabuchai. Because they have serious leaders, serious people, serious scholars who can read a bill and say this bill has 57 clauses, there is no clause 169. You know, I had the member purport that we are moving, rental income tax is being moved from 7.5 to 30% based on Schedule 3.
What's the point of your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, is a majority leader in order to use the platform to start campaigning for colleagues here by saying he's apologizing for the people of Kabuchai, which is not important, Mr. Speaker. Can he concentrate on the bill, Mr. Speaker, because we also want to contribute, but to stop trying to decampaign colleagues here in this parliament, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, you know that is not a point of order. If I wanted to decampaign Joshua Kimilu, he knows I can, and he knows what I can say about him. And if he wants me to say it, I can say it, Honorable Speaker. Because for sure, I am sure he does not know what is contained in this bill even now. That is why he's not even paying attention to what is being said. You know, Honorable Speaker, I had people being told, be in the House and call division on each and every clause. And you know, unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, when they attempted to call for division this morning, they could not even reach the numbers. These are people who are being led by more people out there than the members of parliament they are leading in here. But when you want to call for division on any of these 75 clauses of this bill, Honorable Speaker, at least do some basic research, some easy reading. Read the report, say what members of the public have said, align whatever you want to amend with what is being said. You know, we have very serious legislators in this house. When I see a legislator like the incoming governor for Kitui, Makali Mulu, serious legislator, who you will never see engage in superfluous things. When he moves amendments, they are based on what he has done actual research. And I say this because I worked with the Honorable Makali Mulu in the Budget and Appropriations Committee. That is why you will not see Makali Mulu engaging in the theatrics that you saw here in the morning, or in press conferences purporting there is a clause 169, rental income tax is being moved from 7.5 to 30% when it does not exist, because he knows the truth. And he's an expert, a finance expert. In another life, Honorable Speaker, if I was the president, I would favorably look at Makali Mulu as an expert. Honorable Speaker, I was saying this in conclusion because this is a very important bill. Very, very important bill. But Honorable Speaker, you will see they are not here. And members know who I'm speaking about when I say they are not here. They cannot be here because you cannot use it for politics. But they thought the finance bill you thought you can use for politics. But this touches on the lives of the people of Kenya. Not just farmers, but even the consumers of food. Look at the prevalence of cancer in our country, Honorable Speaker. How do we ensure that we have biosecurity in terms of the conditioners that we're using for our soils, the biofertilizers that we're using, that we don't use those that are carcinogenic, Honorable Speaker, but not the carcinogenic wheelbarrows.
Biosafety.
Matters biosafety. How I wish we were more members of parliament here to contribute to this debate. I beg to move, Honorable Speaker, and I want to urge those of you who are in this house at this time. This touches on the safety of the food you eat, our food security as a country, and our health as a people, and our relations with other countries in the global agricultural trade. Therefore, I want to beg that you support and urge Kenyans to also support this bill, as I thank Kenyans in a very special manner. And allow me to do this, Speaker, because it is out of this debate. Allow me to use this opportunity to thank Kenyans in a very, very special manner. Because when those in the opposition attempted to incite Kenyans against the 2026 finance bill, Kenyans have taken their time, they have cross-checked facts against what is in the bill, and even when their leaders were misleading them, I thank them because they have been able to call them out. I thank Kenyans who have called out those who came to incite them on the floor of parliament without even knowing the color of the bill, or knowing how many clauses were there, or knowing what was contained in the 57 clauses, or knowing the import of what was in the schedules. Because as I said, when Joshua Kimilu interrupted me on a point of order, the member for Kabuchai was alleging this morning that if you go to the third schedule, the only thing I see there is 30%, and he shouts, 30%, 30%, can you imagine? Honorable Speaker, I was watching that, Honorable Speaker, from my office, and I said a quiet prayer for the people of Kabuchai, that God may favor them. God may see them through, even when they have leadership like that. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move. And I want to request the very other serious expert in agriculture, serious legislator, second-term member of parliament, the Honorable Justice Kimani, to second this motion.
Proceed, Honorable Kimani.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity for me to second the bill. And on the onset, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Majority Leader for the remarks he has given in this House and for the very, very good compliments he has given about me. Mr. Speaker, I want to first begin by saying, as is required of the Constitution of this country, we had to subject this legislative intervention to the experts and to the people of this country. It's a very critical bill, and therefore it requires that Article 118 is fully observed. Mr. Speaker, we began this exercise in August 2025 as the Departmental Committee for Agriculture, and we received various presentations and various memoranda on the bill. Quite a number of the contributions by stakeholders, Mr. Speaker, we've incorporated in this bill because public participation should not be an exercise in vain. It should be an exercise that enriches this legislative function of the August House. Mr. Speaker, the Majority Leader has singled out KEFIS as the institution which will be the reference point when it comes to production, when it comes to science, when it comes to trade and issues related to all plants that we produce in this country. Mr. Speaker, we have quite a number of institutions involved in research, involved in science, in plant production. We have National Biosafety Authority, we have CALRO, we have very, very many institutions. Mr. Speaker, for anybody wishing to trade with Kenya, we thought it wise as per the international conventions that KEFIS becomes the only reference institution so that they don't have to go left, right, and center. KEFIS, on the other hand, would then be required to acquire all the information related to research, related to production, related to technology, and then supply this information to the people we are trading with at the international space. Mr. Speaker, the Majority Leader said we are dealing with food production in this country. It is not produce that will only be used for food security in this country. We must occupy the global trade stage